Well, I thought that thing was leaving. No? So we've had a tough week, I'm telling you. See if I can raise this thing with one hand. Maybe not. There we go. So let me tell you what I got going on with this Jewel. I don't know where to start. So you know the transmission started slipping. We pulled that out, put it back in. Had oil leak, the oil pan was leaking, changed the gasket. I drove it. The fuel injection quit running on it one day when I drove it not far from the house. And the pump continued to pump. Well, I jumped out, jerked the negative side of the battery cable off, to stop the pump from pumping, because when it messed up, it went into what is called, it's a red screen. It's no communication with the puck, between the puck and the ECU that's on the side of the fuel injection or throttle body, however you want to look at it. It's not a true fuel injection, but you know what I mean. It's a sniper. It's the MSD Atomic 2, but it's got the sniper functions in it, the sniper software. The reason I went with this one was because the Fairlane that we just finished up had the MSD Atomic on it, and it worked flawless. But then after I bought this one, I found out that Holley had bought out MSD and put their software and yada, yada, yada. We hadn't had nothing but trouble. So back to what I was saying, the gas tank didn't have a way to relieve the pressure. And I should have known, I guess. I didn't know. We didn't install it. But anyway, it had built pressure because it didn't have no way to breathe. Right there's where you feel it at. It's got a way to breathe now. We fixed that. You can fill it up and let it set out in the sun, and the pressure will relieve. So back to my story. When I run up here to cut pull the cable to stop the pump from pumping, because it had went into a red screen, no signal screen, this thing was pumping fuel out of the fuel injection, out from under the breather, down into the intake. I mean, that old deep valley of intake was just a holding gas. Well, that scared me. And for a split second, I didn't know what to do. And then I remembered, pressure coming from the tank, loosen the cap. So I loosened the cap, and man, I mean, it was just loaded with pressure because it was full of gas and it was hot that day. We fixed that. Dylan broke this thing apart. The pressure, he seems to believe that didn't have nothing to do with the intake leak. Me personally, I believe all the pressure that was pushed in the engine that day pushed the leak out the back. So it was leaking like crazy. So all that's been fixed. New intake gaskets, new valve cover gaskets. It has been a nightmare. Well, we drove it yesterday, 100 some miles. The day before we drove it 30 some miles, but we had to put aluminum foil around the distributor because of the RF noise. RFI, EMI, it is real. You can't see it right now, but if this engine was running, that distributor and stuff, the wires, the plugs can put off those frequencies. We done a test on the alternator, a ripple test. You take a dedicated multi-tool. What do you call it? Shucks. It's early this morning and I can't think. You set it on AC for AC voltage instead of DC, but it has to be one of those. It has to be a meter that will stay on AC. That way when you put your negative and positive over here, even though this thing produces DC current, if the multimeter is set on AC and will stay on AC, it will show you any type of signal, what they call the ripple effect, coming off of that. This one shows 0 millivolts is coming off of that alternator. So we're getting our RFI signal and problems from the MSD with the wires and the plugs and stuff. But if you covered up the MSD 2 days ago, it worked good. Well, yesterday we came in after I'd done a lot of reading, put a ground strap from the transmission to the frame and from the engine to the frame. They claim that those RFI EMI signals will transfer to that braided negative cable a lot better. And there it is. Them things are $20-some a piece at AutoZone. But the signal is supposed to make its way to that braided cable and break up and deadhead into the frame. So that's what we did. We drove it 100 miles yesterday, and actually more than that. And it done good for most of the day, but then it started, the signals was starting, the frequencies was messing with the IAC on the back of the throttle body. So it was making it idle high or making it surge, trying to push through the brakes. Well, this morning I come in just a few minutes ago and I pulled the breather off of it, and I took aluminum foil and I wrapped just around, you can see the aluminum foil right there, just around the IAC, the back of the fuel injection, and put a zip tie so that, you know, when the electric fan come on, it won't blow it off, or it shouldn't. And I was going to pull it out here. We done an engine flush on it yesterday, and I was going to drain it this morning. So I started it up, pulled it out here, it cut off, and let me show you what it does when it goes into this state. No data. When it does that, it's got no communication between the puck and the ECU. So the only way to fix that is to take off your negative cable. I usually take it off for about 5 seconds, put it back on, and it'll be fine. But a person shouldn't have to do that. I mean, come on, you know, this thing costed a lot. The reason I pulled it out here this morning was to drain. This thing is disgusting inside. I'll have to go back inside and get me a light so that you can see, or I might be able to shine. This thing had all kind of junk sprayed down in it, or not sprayed down in it, but I don't know if you can see or not. But it is just about black. So what I was going to do was let it drain and run and keep putting hose water through it till the engine warms up and pushes out all the nasty that the pressed on radiator flush has broke up in the engine. And then I'm going to fill it back up with a distilled antifreeze premix that will stop any later on problems with, you know, like calcium or rust. Because if the water that you've got is like got hard deposits and stuff in it, and you're putting it in a vehicle and it's going to do a lot of setting, then you could have issues. Like this right here, you can see how black it is, how muddy it is inside right there. Around that edge. This engine has set for years and years, and so we're getting it now, and the radiator had all kind of nasty stuff in it. So we're going to we've done a flush on it. I'm going to try to get it cleaned out and drained out. And I'm hoping I can get on the phone with Holly and see if I can get this thing resolved. But we got to get the heating issue stopped first. I'm hoping that the radiator flush will clean out, because it's got a good radiator. 2-core, it's got the big 1-inch row tubes in it. So I'm hoping that get the temperature down, because it'll run out on the road at about 190, 195 driving, and if you stop at a light or anything, it'll creep up 200, 202 real quick, and it shouldn't be doing that. There's thousands of these trucks out on the road with the same radiator and air conditioning and all. But anyway, the heat from this engine is transferring through to the transmission, so it's not running as cool as it should. But we're going to try to get this stuff fixed up. Let me get this thing drained. Well, I'm trying to do an engine flush on this truck, and 4 times in a row, this Holley Sniper has lost signal with the handheld puck inside. I've never had it to do that. I'm not so sure what's going on with it, but fixing to put this around the distributor again, a new piece, because I threw the other piece away because I thought it was okay. And we'll see how that does. Well, that's installed. Let's see how it does this time. A while ago it wouldn't run, but just, I don't know, maybe not even a minute. See how it does. See now, after that install, see how it's searching for the puck. It's probably going to cut off here in just a second, because it can't establish a connection, and the connection is good. Nothing's been changed. Well, for something that's showing that it's looking for connection, it's made its connection. See the IAC, the idle air control, we changed that one the other day because it was stuck closed, the one from Holley. We put a new one in. That's what causes your idle up and your surging if you have RFI, EMI frequencies messing with it. Well, this morning, like I said, I think in my earlier video, I had wrapped the IAC with aluminum foil, but it's obvious that that wasn't doing the job. So the aluminum foil on the distributor is helping. Let me get some water in this thing and get it clean. Well, like I said, flushed through, let it run, cleaned out. Let's see if I can get you a picture down inside there. Look how clean that radiator is down inside, if you can see it. Look at that. That's the Prestone from O'Reilly. Y'all, I'm telling you, that thing is clean. See this outer edge, which the water hose has washed some of it away. See how dark that is? That's the way it looks inside. So once that completely drains down, I'll fill it back up with some premix, supposedly got distilled water. I'll put some water wetter in it, and if that stuff, they say that distilled water will not cause any sediments or deposits in your engine block if your truck sets a lot, because of the purity of the water. It is a Pepsi morning. For those of you who drink Pepsi, I like mine cold. So, stay tuned. get all this changed out, cleaned up, hit the road in a little bit. Got a couple clients coming by, possibly a new client if he decides to hire us. But I'll be back in touch with how it's cooling. And it has sat here and run flawless with that aluminum foil back on the distributor. That's very, very frustrating, because to switch that out with the Hyperspark system, or that might not fix it. Might would have to go in, you'd have to buy new wires, probably have to Faraday tape everything. I've learned a lot in the last 2 or 3 days, guys, gals, men, women, boys and girls. RFI, EMI frequencies is no joke. I laughed at it a while back when I read that in the manual, but because I thought to myself, there's no way that a company as big as Holley would produce a software that is affected by frequency when all of these new vehicles have got fuel injection and they go down the road no issues at all. So you're telling me that they can't come up with a solution? That's a little sad in my opinion. All right, the last thing I left off was we had it outside draining the water out. I was having trouble trying to keep it cool. We ordered a new fan. The radiator flush didn't help any. The fan that's on the radiator is blowing pretty weak. I'm not sure exactly where it came from, but I ordered a 3300 CFM. I ordered a brushless one with what they call a smart start that will slowly ramp up and not spike the amps. It won't be instantaneous. It'll be supposed to be here Monday. It's a Pro Form from Summit Racing. We did put a transmission cooler on it. We went out yesterday to try it, and it broke down about a mile from the house and had to haul it back. I uploaded a short on that, but it just quit running. And we were blaming it on the fuel injection. But look what I found this morning. It's burned up. Look at it in there. The whole thing melted down. When I raised the hood yesterday, I told Dylan, I said, it's smoking. And where we had removed the lines from the radiator, and that's another thing. Those transmission lines was running the bottom of that radiator, and it is hot in the bottom of that radiator. So we removed that, run new lines, and put a transmission cooler underneath the truck. It's got to be better than what we had. But during the process of removing the lines, some of the transmission fluid come out of the lines where it bolts into the transmission, the side of it, and got on the header. Well, we wiped it up, but it got in between the primary tubes, and it was burning off. So it sat here and idled and was burning off. Well, when we broke down and I seen smoke, my first thought was it's still a little bit of smoke coming from between the primary tubes. But I knew that it smelled funny. It smelled electrical, because I've let the smoke out of stuff before. But that's what it was. Distributor meltdown. So stay tuned. We in between now. Before the distributor messed up, we were in between. Do we buy the Hyperspark to go with the fuel injection, or do we just go back to a carburetor? Now it's going to have, I don't know if it's damaged any other components. That parts that are replaceable if everything else is good. I don't know if this distributor has a pickup below that board that I just showed you, like some of the older models did, or if it's like the Mallory, they were, I think, farther down inside. But anyway, we'll get this out and see what we got, try to get it fixed up. We'll bring you back. Hold tight. Fix the popcorn. Well, as you can see, I winched it up on the lift since it don't run, using a come along, strap, some chain, and got it back up on here. Talked to the client. The parts to fix that distributor is going to be actually more than buying a whole new distributor ready to go. That sounds crazy, but the cheapest place that I found this module, I think, was Speedway Motors. It was like $147. Then you got to buy your cap and your rotary button, and possibly, you know, the coil that's in this one might have been okay, but there's a good possibility that it's messed up too. So I mean, you can buy a whole new distributor for $216, $250, you know, around in there, according on where you buy it from. So, but then the other we discussed is taking off the fuel injection. We're going to take it off and put the carburetor back on it. So there's a lot to do. I thought this thing was headed out, and in reality it's hanging on. So we got a fan coming, and I've got to order the new distributor and carburetor. So it is what it is. He said he was tired of fooling with it. All the troubleshooting, I'm telling you, it's just not working right on this truck. You know, the distributor, was the distributor going faulty and affecting the fuel injection? Did the fuel injection, was it affecting the distributor? I don't know. I don't have the answers. Man, Mike could put a new distributor in there and it'd be okay. And you know, we might try that. I might order him a new carburetor and new distributor and put the distributor in it and try it before we pull it all back off. And if that's the case, then you know, you can always send the carburetor back. If it's not the case, we'll switch it out. But I've got a new fan coming, like I had mentioned earlier, a 16-inch Proform brushless. It's got the soft start, and it'll gradually ramp up to full speed. You can put a controller on it to give you a certain percentage, but we're not going to get into all that. So y'all stay tuned. Well, it's been hectic here the last couple of weeks. I've been working on a video, but we've just been running around trying to get things caught up. Just finished my hours on the Studebaker. I didn't record none of that. It was just a lot of welding and grinding stuff that y'all have seen before. But what I'm fixing to work on now is this right here. See that box? That box has everything in it to switch it back over to carburetor. Got me 2 gas jugs. Got to drain the gas out of the tank back into those. New valve cover gaskets. New 600 carburetor. Regulator. Well, regulator gauge. New MSD. New MSD street fire distributor. So, like me and Dylan was just talking, it's going to be a lot of work just to get all of this off. So we drove this thing like a little over 300 miles this last time. Before that, I think we drove it, well, probably total about 350 miles, I guess. And when I bought this unit, if you notice, it's MSD. It's similar, supposed to be the same as what I put on the Fairlane. Fairlane's runs great. This one here has got the actual Holley stuff in it, and it's just acting crazy. But the distributor in the back, was it going bad? Was it putting off, you know, a noisy signal that was messing up the ECU on the side? Or, see, I don't know. If you put aluminum foil on the distributor, this thing worked good. Well, I say good. I'm not going to say that it was 100%, but like I said, we did drive it. But before the latest update, we drove it like 110 miles with no aluminum foil on the distributor. So I really don't know the answer. I just know that when you search online, all of the Holley problems with the RFI, EMI signals, or noise, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of the forums recommended the Hyperspark. Well, all the Holley forums recommended the Hyperspark, but then it's not guaranteed to work. So he said, you know what? I'm tired of dumping money in it, tired of troubleshooting. Let's go back carburetor. So that's what we're going to do. Got the new carburetor out. Fuel injection is off. New distributor's in, new cap, all that. Wired back up. The relays, I got to go through them and remove what needs to be removed. I forget exactly which one is which. Got to drain the water out, change my temp settings for my fan so that the fan will work. Get that Holley sensor out right there and put in a sensor for the fan. Kind of got a mess. Here's the old kit. I don't know how much it's going to be worth. If y'all have any idea, drop it down. Like I said, it run. We drove it for like 300 and some miles, but I'm not so sure exactly what the issues were. Here's the fan that we bought. The fan up front's not cooling exactly like it should. Proform, brushless. Well, it says 2100 to 4200, don't it? I don't know if it automatically does that or not, but I know when I bought it, it said it was a 3300 fan, and then we picked this up so that we could test them free spinning. That's how the factories test them. But then when I get my wiring and all dug out, I'm going to test this one actually, through the radiator, and then take it off. It's not pulling like it should, but we're going to see what it's pulling. And like I said, that's what this is for. Y'all probably seen an anemometer before, but if you haven't, stay tuned. We're going to show you. Check this little trick out. You see the water or antifreeze coming out. There's 1, 2, 3 blocks. If you don't know, this is not the purpose for them, but it's working really good right now. See up inside there? See if I can get up in here. Where you at? Right there. I took and held my finger over the valve until I got it spun all the way in. Then I stuck that hose over it and let it run down and collect. If you don't, it will splash against the inside of this bumper and run to the left and run to the right. It won't run in the pan. So, as last night when I was thinking about it, I thought, man, that's gonna make a mess. But then I had this thought, and this was the thought. I knew I had a new radiator hose laying around. All good thoughts come from God. Remember that. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gents, men and women, we are finally ready to fire it off. See if you can see the little squirter squirt some gas on the old carburetor. Look at that. All right, we got fuel. We'll check over everything for leaks. Should be ready to fire right up, I hope. Words can't describe how aggravated I am. And it's not, I don't know what to say. So we finished up the truck yesterday and put it all back on carburetor, fired it up. I mean, you can reach in there and touch the key and it'll just fire right up and idle perfect. Well, backed it out to adjust the fuel pressure. That Holley fuel pump is designed for, I think, up to 7.5. Well, we don't want that much fuel pushing through because it will actually push through the needle and seat and cause problems. We want it to be like around 5, 5.5, something like that. So that's the purpose of the regulator. Well, we backed it out and it was only showing 3 psi. Well, when you tried to regulate it, it didn't change anything. If you open the regulator all the way up to let the fuel pump all that it could pump, it wouldn't pump but 3. So Dylan said, well, he said, that's we can drive it and check it out, and it's just not made for wide open throttle. It won't have enough fuel pressure for wide open throttle. So we drove it. We drove it to Seagrove and back. And to Seagrove and back was probably about, I'm going to say around 25 miles. Got back to the front of the garage and it started spitting and sputtering. The fuel pump, that brand new fuel pump. Pressure went to 0 and the pump went pumping. The one good thing about the drive was this Proform brushless fan does keep it running cool. I got out on the interstate, turned the air on, and was running about 70, between 70 and 75, and it was 171 degrees. Well, coming back in the driveway, it dropped it down to like 165. The transmission cooler that we put under the truck which was a non-fan, just a regular transmission cooler to get it out of the radiator. It dropped the transmission temperature from 230 degrees to 194 degrees. So while that's not ideally healthy, that's much better. The only other option we got as far as making the transmission cooler would be to order one of those derail transmission coolers that's got the little electric fan on it. And it can be mounted underneath, but it'd be a tight mount. And they're like $400+. So we're gonna get this thing, I'm gonna get it raised up and get this new fuel pump that don't work off, and we've got an actual Edelbrock, one that's made in the USA. We'll get this Holly China one off. I don't know if y'all can see down in there or not, but we got a Edelbrock made in the USA pump, and it actually pumps. Got it set at about 5.5. It fluctuates in between. Got the new throttle cable bracket and all put on, and the TV cable bracket for the transmission. Since we switched back to a carburetor, it has a what they call, their big word is a different geometry. So it gets this front bracket that bolts on, and then this new cable in the back that's installed. We drove it today. It done good. The transmission shifts good, but it shifts really kind of too early, I guess you could say. We'll just have to. It shifted firm with the Holly, and so something's a little bit different. Not quite sure yet what it is, but we drove it back out, and I told Dylan, I said, this rear shock is messed up. Broke, leaked down, burst, something. And sure enough, I got back. Both shocks was messed up. You just can't make it up. But I'll tell you what, the brackets that the previous guys had put on were, I guess you could say, made for a regular shock, and they just wasn't quite fabricated enough for an air shock, and it rubbed through one, but the other one was already leaking fluid out of it, some type of oil that's in an air shock. So we got a new set coming. It's supposed to be here tomorrow as of Saturday, but it's a holiday. It's the 4th. Happy 4th. I doubt they'll be here tomorrow. Like Dylan said, it'll probably be Monday. But I'm going to wrap this video up here. Send it on out. Let y'all chew on it. Do y'all struggle with trying to get them finished? This one has been tough. Tough. We got everything. Everything's off. Back in the box. It runs good though with the carburetor. Does nice. Y'all stay tuned for the next build. We got some other stuff to do. We're just trying to get this one wrapped up to where it can go home. We've been working on the 54 next door, but this one is priority. Just trying to get it done. Y'all have a good 4th.